Hey, job seekers, Melanie here. There's been a lot of changes on LinkedIn in regards to location, and I want to make sure that we run them through with you. I know it's so hard to be a job seeker and not get to see behind the scenes in LinkedIn Recruiter to know when you're falling in and out of job searches just because of your location. It's actually when we do our one-on-one sessions with job seekers, it's one of the primary things we cover with them. So we make sure they're showing up where they should be. Well, today I want to cover those with you because, like I said, there's been a lot of changes. Now, I want you to not only hear me talk about it, but I want you to actually see this live in LinkedIn Recruiter because I think it will help you understand more how you're actually falling in and out of searches as a job seeker strictly because of your location. Now, I do want to start first talking about your primary location. And I do want to share my screen for this so you can see and we're on the same page as to what I'm talking about. When you're looking at your primary LinkedIn profile, and this is my profile, of course, where we're talking about when we're talking about your primary location, it's the one that shows up here right underneath your name. Now, how do you edit that primary location? That's going to be edited by this pencil right here. Now, make no mistake about it. Your primary location is the most important location that you enter into LinkedIn. And the reason for that is because that is the primary search that is used by companies and recruiters to find you. So let me show you my profile under LinkedIn Recruiter using the search functions and show you where that location shows up. So if I switch from regular LinkedIn to LinkedIn Recruiter, which is this one right here. Now, in this case, I have forced the system to show just me and just my profile so that I'm not showing anybody else's data. Of course, I would never want to do that. But as I'm looking at me, do you see still here? You can see it says Greater Houston. It's pulling up my primary location. And so as somebody who is looking as a job recruiter who's looking for candidates, if I'm saying, okay, I want to find somebody who is in that Greater Houston location, I can go ahead and search by Greater Houston. And you're going to see I'm going to come up in this search right here. And I've just searched Greater Houston and people who are currently there. Now, when recruiters and companies are looking, most times they want to avoid things like relocation expenses or the time it takes for people to move from one city to another, even if they're not covering the relocation. So most times they are going to look where the people currently are, where the job currently is. So it's real important that primary location is exactly where there's a matchup. And that's why when they're looking at it via LinkedIn Recruiter, they're going to choose that radial button that you're going to see right here that says current. That's going to be the first place that they're going to look. Now, here is the problem. And this is a big problem if you live in a major city. I live in Houston, actually, in one of the suburbs of Houston. You see, I have Greater Houston, which is kind of the circle area around Houston. That is the location I've chosen. Well, here's the problem with LinkedIn and locations that you need to be aware of. If I go into that location setting and say, okay, I'm looking for a candidate and I want one that is in, and don't type Greater Houston, but I just type Houston, Texas. Look what happens for current. I just fell out of that search. Now that makes no sense. LinkedIn drives me insane with these type of things. If I'm in the Greater Houston, it's a suburb of Houston, I should come up in the Houston search as well as the Greater Houston search. Which actual suburbs of Houston and which areas are included in one versus the other, LinkedIn doesn't tell you that. And it's not even consistent city to city. And so some examples of that is like Dallas, in Texas, you have Dallas, Fort Worth Metroplex. So it doesn't always be like this city and then greater this city. So it's really confusing and hard to tell which location you come up in and which one you don't. So what do you do? What's the guidance that I would give you for that primary location? I would say you should choose the main city if you're looking for a job. So if I am in the Houston area, in one of those suburbs or Houston, I would recommend that for me to pick Houston, Texas, as opposed to Greater Houston. Why? Why do I do that? Well, recruiters recruit for positions across the world. And so they may not know all of the different ones to pick and choose for that city. They may not live in the Texas area. They may be in New York, maybe in California and Florida. And so they may not know that there's Houston and Greater Houston available. And so they might just choose Houston. And I think it's more important you come up in that primary search than the other. Okay, but this begs the question, and a lot of people say, well, what I'm going to do is just choose United States. And actually, that's a problem. Now, before I show you what happens when you change your primary location to United States, I do want to show you one other thing in regards to your location. Let's say that instead of looking for Houston, Texas, I was more open with that and said, okay, show me candidates that match my parameter in the United States. When I click on that and I say people that are current, do you see how I still came up in the search? Well, that's good news for you job seekers. So if they search United States and you've got a location in the United States, you're still going to come up in that search. You're still going to show. But I want to show you what happens if I actually change my location to United States as my primary. It unfortunately doesn't work quite as well. So let's go over to my profile here, and you see Greater Houston is my location. I'm going to change that. And I'm going to go in and say, okay, instead of Greater Houston, let's make it just United States. And I can do that by pulling out the postal code, and then it just shows United States. Now, when I do that, you're going to see that it's going to change my location, but not change necessarily how I come up in all the searches. See right here now that it shows United States as my primary location. Let me go over here into LinkedIn Recruiter, and I'm going to refresh this screen just so it accepts that new change and shows as United States. Okay, so now you can see there I am again in LinkedIn Recruiter with United States. Now you would think that would mean no matter what location I choose in the United States, I should come up in the search, but it doesn't work that way. So if I go out here and say, let's show me candidates that are in Florida, United States, I disappear out of the search. That's a problem because unless that person searches United States, you may think by listing that as your primary location, you come up in everything. And the reality is you don't. The only way you come up in that search, there's two ways. One is if instead of Florida, I actually chose as the location United States, then I am going to come up in that location for current. See that? But that doesn't get me anything special because I already came up in that search when I had my location in Texas, right? So that doesn't help anything. I already came up within Houston. But I do want to show you that LinkedIn they have gone behind the scenes a little bit. And if you do choose United States, you will still come up in your local search. And let me show you what I mean by that. If I clear out back to this in the United States and I say, okay, show me candidate in Greater Houston. Whoops, there we go. I still come up in this search. Now, I have to tell you, it took me a lot of testing to figure out what's going on here. Why is it still showing me in Greater Houston, even though I've removed that out of my primary profile? It doesn't show me in Texas or anything else. It just shows Greater Houston. And it took me some digging and testing to find it. And here's why I think that is happening. LinkedIn, in their privacy policy, says that we do receive data through cookies and similar technology. If you use our services from a mobile device, that device will send us data about your location based on your phone settings. Now, as far as I can tell, that is the reason why even though my location is United States, I'm still showing up in this Greater Houston. Now, okay, I know that's already a lot of data, but there's more on the location. Stick with me, job seekers. We're trying to make you show up in as many searches as we possibly can. The more searches you show up in, the better your chance of finding a job. Okay, so this is all just dealing with your primary location, which again is the most important, but you do have additional locations that you can choose based on the open to work setting. So my open to work is not on, so let me go ahead and turn that on and show you those location settings and how that works. So let me share my screen again. I'm going to go back to my primary profile. I'm going to change my location back to Greater Houston because it'll make it easier to show you what I'm trying to show you. 77388. I'm going to change this to Greater Houston. Save. Okay, so here is my profile, and you're going to see it again change to, let me refresh it, Greater Houston. See it right here? There we go, Greater Houston. Now, when I turn on my open to work as a job seeker, let's say I'm saying I'm open to finding a new job. I am looking for a job as Vice President of HR. Okay, so I've chosen that job title. And let's say I'm even open to all of these different location types. Now, in the location settings, we're talking more about on-site. On the on-site location settings, it's going to default to Greater Houston. You do not need that. It's just giving you a default location. You only have 5 slots in that open to work. You don't want Greater Houston to be one of them. Why? Because it's already on there as your primary location on your profile. So you don't need it twice. So take this one out and it's going to say, okay, select at least one location. Well, so a lot of people say, well, here's what I'm going to do. And we actually used to give this advice because it did used to work on LinkedIn. It does not anymore. They're going to say, I'm willing to go anywhere in the US. I'll relocate to anywhere. I'm going to go ahead and say just United States, open to all LinkedIn members, and save. And now let me go out to LinkedIn Recruiter and refresh that page so it accepts that I've now changed my open to work and such. When I refresh it out here, you're going to see it's going to actually still show Greater Houston. But if I click into my profile, it's going to show that I am actually looking open to work. So now if I go out to locations and I choose United States, there we go, and I say current or open to work, I'm going to come up, right? That's easy, no problems whatsoever. I easily come up in that search. Here's where it gets a little trickier. I've chosen United States of where I'm willing to relocate to. I should come up in this search for Florida, which I just entered because I have it listed in here as United States. So it should read any state in the US. This is one of the changes, and that's a problem. It no longer does that. Okay, now again, I know this location thing is really trying. I have to even tell you, as I was in the middle of recording this video, trying to show you what we learned from all the testing, I had another location testing fail. We had to pause this video and go back and retest a bunch of different location settings to make sure the data that I'm giving you today is the best possible data to put you ahead. Okay, so let's talk about if you, again, turn on that open to work setting, you have 5 location slots that you can also utilize to help show recruiters that you are looking or interested in being considered for these states, and also so you come up in the searches in those locations. Now, the data that we used to say that you could do is you could choose United States as one of those locations so you could come up. Well, that stopped working. So then we went through and tested and said, okay, you can put a state instead of a city and you'll come up in every city in that location. Even that is no longer true. And that is huge for you job seekers. It is now on LinkedIn Recruiter incredibly specific in regards to what location you're going to come up to. I really feel like LinkedIn needs to let recruiters know this. I'll probably do a post out on LinkedIn informing recruiters of this so that they are aware. So it's easier for them to find you. Let me show you what I mean by this. I know it's a little complicated, but I want to make sure, again, you come up in the search. So let me go back to my shared screen. Okay, so if I look at my profile and I go down to my open to work setting and I show the details, you will see that I've also said that I am open to a location on site of Miami, Fort Lauderdale area. Now I want to show you what happens when I go over into LinkedIn Recruiter. Now, if I look out in the open to work here, remember I forced the system to show me, you can see that you can even see that for on site. Now, if I go out to the location and I say, show me people who are current or open to relocate to that area, if I choose Miami, Florida, I fall out of the search. Do you see that? There's no search results. As a recruiter, I've got to exactly match what you have entered. So that means I have to choose Miami, Fort Lauderdale area. And then this person comes up in the search. So what's the best advice for you job seekers? What do you put in those 5 slots? I think it's really important. We used to say put states. Now I think you need to pick cities. You need to pick specific cities that you are willing to relocate to. I so wish that LinkedIn told you what all the city options are, but they don't. There's not a list anywhere that I've been able to find. If one of you has found that kind of list, please put a link to it in the comments below so that everybody can benefit from that. I will see about my team going off and doing some research of the cities that show for maybe the top 10 cities in the US or something like that to try and help. This is why we do so many of these one-on-one coaching sessions with job seekers, because it's hard to know if you can't see this behind the scenes. So here is the best advice I would give you is you have 5 job slots available in that open to relocate. You don't need to put your primary because it's already showing on your main. Choose 4 other cities that you are willing to relocate to. And then if you're truly willing to relocate anywhere in the United States, pick United States. Not because you're going to show up in searches everywhere, but if a recruiter is doing well, I'll take somebody from anywhere and puts United States in that open to relocate field exact, you'll at least then show up in that search. And it's a signal to those recruiters and companies that you will go everywhere. Okay, I know this one was complicated. I'm going to keep my eye on this one and keep watching this and testing this. If you're seeing other things with the locations, the primary location or the open to work location setting, please put it in the comments below. Like I said, I'll keep an eye on it. We'll keep looking at it. We have a bunch of new other videos that are coming out to try and keep everybody up to date with all the changes that LinkedIn has made to make it easier for you to be able to find the job. Don't forget, job seekers, you are worthy of a great job, a great career, and most importantly, a great life. Don't give up. You're worthy. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing that now. And please forward this video out to other job seekers who are also struggling in their job search. We are all in this together. I'll see you next time.